John Kennedy leaves The Five. In chaos, Jessica Tarlov storms off live. The studio lights of The Five burned bright, casting a warm glow over the polished table, where the panelists sat, their notes neatly arranged, their postures practiced. The audience, both in the studio and at home, buzzed with anticipation. The producers had teased a surprise guest all day, dropping cryptic hints on social media, but no one was prepared for what was about to unfold. The air crackled with expectation as the show's theme music faded, and Greg Gutfeld, with his trademark smirk, leaned into his mic. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's gonna be a wild ride. We've got a guest who doesn't just stir the pot, he flips it over. Please welcome Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana." The crowd erupted a mix of cheers and gasps as John Kennedy, the Republican senator known for his sharp wit and folksy charm, strode onto the set. His suit was crisp, his smile easy, but his eyes carried a glint of purpose, like a man who'd walked into a room knowing exactly what he was there to say. He took his seat, giving a nod to the panel: Greg, Dana Perino, Jesse Waters, and Jessica Tarlov, each of whom reacted in their own way. Greg chuckled, Dana adjusted her glasses, Jesse raised an eyebrow, and Jessica, arms crossed, fixed her gaze on Kennedy with a look that was equal parts curiosity and challenge. The energy shifted the room, tilting towards something unpredictable. This wasn't just another episode of The Five. This was about to become a moment no one would forget. Greg, ever the showman, kicked things off with a quip. "Senator Kennedy, you've got a knack for dropping one-liners that make headlines. Did you bring any for us today, or are you packing something heavier?" The audience laughed, but Kennedy's response was measured, his southern drawl cutting through the noise like a steady hand on a reins. "Greg, I didn't come here to throw zingers. I came to talk about something real, how we're talking to each other, or maybe how we're not." His words landed softly, but carried weight, and the studio quieted, sensing this wasn't going to be the usual back and forth. Dana, always the diplomat, leaned in. "Senator, you're known for your plain-spoken style, but some say that style can stir up division. What's your take on that?" Kennedy tilted his head, his smile faint but warm. "Dana, I think folks are tired of being talked at. They want someone to level with them, not lecture. If that stirs things up, maybe it's because the truth isn't always comfortable." The audience murmured, some nodding, others shifting in their seats. All eyes turned to Jessica Tarlov, who hadn't spoken yet but was clearly waiting for her moment. Her pen tapped lightly against Hero System, her notes, her posture stiffening as if bracing for impact. She didn't wait for a prompt. "Senator Kennedy," she began, her voice sharp but controlled, "I respect your approach, but let's be honest. Your rhetoric, those memorable one-liners, often paint issues in black and white terms. Don't you think that can oversimplify complex problems and fuel division among people who are already polarized?" The studio went still, the weight of her words hanging in the air. It wasn't an attack, not exactly, but it was a challenge, one that cut to the core of Kennedy's public persona. He didn't flinch. Instead, he leaned back slightly, his hands folded, and considered her question with the same calm he'd walked in with. "Jessica, I don't aim to simplify anything. I aim to clarify. People aren't as fragile as some think they can handle straight talk. The problem isn't the words. It's when we stop listening to what's behind them." His response was steady, deliberate, and it shifted the room's dynamic. Greg raised an eyebrow, sensing the tension. Dana bit her lip, her notes momentarily forgotten. Jesse leaned forward, a grin tugging at his mouth, as if he could already see the viral clips this moment would produce. Jessica didn't back down. "But that's the issue, Senator. Your words carry weight. When you frame issues in ways that rally one side, It can make the other feel dismissed, even alienated. Doesn't that risk pushing people further apart? Kennedy's eyes narrowed slightly, not in anger but in focus, as if he were sizing up the question like a chess move. If I'm speaking to one side, it's because I'm speaking to what I see as true. I don't get to control how it lands, but I'd rather say something honest and risk ruffling feathers than stay quiet to keep the peace. Silence doesn't solve division, it buries it. The audience stirred a low hum of approval mixing with murmurs of dissent. Jessica's jaw tightened, her pen pausing mid-tap. Honesty is one thing, she countered. But when your rhetoric energizes people to dig in their heels to see compromise as weakness, doesn't that make finding common ground harder? Kennedy's smile returned, just a touch, not mocking, but knowing. Common ground isn't found by dodging hard truths, Jessica. It's found by facing them head-on, even when it stings. The air thickened, the exchange electric, but restrained a far cry from the usual shouting matches. The camera cut to commercial, but the tension lingered, a promise that this was only the beginning. Back from the break, the panel tried to reset, but the undercurrent remained. Greg, sensing the need to lighten the mood, tossed out a question. "Senator, you've got a reputation for cutting through the noise. Is that why you're here, to shake things up?" Kennedy chuckled, the sound warm but edged with intent. "I'm here because people deserve to hear someone speak plainly, not just parrot talking points. If that shakes things up, so be it." Jessica jumped back, in her voice steady but firm. "Plain talk is powerful, but it can also be a blunt instrument. When you use it to call out one side, it can feel like you're dismissing the other's lived experience. That's not clarity, it's selective storytelling." Kennedy didn't miss a beat. "Every story's selective, Jessica. The trick is picking the parts that matter most. I choose the ones I think get us closer to solving problems, not just feeling good about them." The room felt smaller, the space between their words heavy with meaning. Dana tried to steer things gently. "Senator, do you think the way we talk about issues today on shows like this helps or hurts our ability to solve them?" Kennedy's gaze softened, but his voice stayed firm. "It helps if we're honest. It hurts if we're just performing. Most folks can tell the difference." Jessica's eyes narrowed, her notes untouched now.